Okay, we'll call this one installment 5 of Can I Get My Sierra Ready for the group.io 30-meter activity on Sunday at 1100 Zulu on 30 meters at 10.116 megahertz. So after messing around with this radio for a better part of 2 days, I found out a couple of important lessons. One is, I'm guessing that the guy that built the module, I think he must have lacquered it, or maybe, I think lacquer is the only thing, because it was sprayed all over the board. It was sprayed all over all of the inductors, which looked like this. And when you tune up a Sierra band module, you need to be able to compress and expand the turns on each of the inductors based on whether or not you can get a double peak on each of these capacitors. And I couldn't for the life of me get things to work right. So I finally kind of flooded it with this small spray bottle full of alcohol until I could get the turns loose and I could get the capacitors loose to the point where I could tune things up. So I was able then to use C70, the crystal tuning here. You can see the dial is 0, and this is WWVH in Hawaii. And it's tuned in at 0 beat, and it sounds pretty good. And then I can tune it up to the 100, and I don't think there's anybody on the band right now, but at least there are signals. And we did prove that these receiver tuning do work. It peaked just a bit more slightly. This one I may work on a bit more. It seems to peak when the cap is closed, like I said before, but I think we're in pretty good shape. I was then able to keep working on tuning up the transmitter, and let me turn off that noise. What I did was I probed here on L11, and I set up these two capacitors. I ended up having to squeeze the inductors closer together to get more inductance so that I could make these two things peak when the caps weren't fully closed. So when I did that, I went from about 2 volts output. Let's see what we have now. Let me get to the dummy load. Let's see, let me also move the key from the paddle to the key jack. That way it'll stay on. So you can be the judge. That's 5 volts per division. That looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's almost, I think it was 30 volts peak to peak. It looks like it's about 28 now. And let's see if we get to the calculator app. We can turn it sideways, turn it into scientific, and say 28 squared divided by 400. So that's 1.96 watts. It was about 2 1/4, I think, at the peak. I think also whatever was sprayed on there, maybe the combination of the alcohol and the lacquer, as it dries, it seems like I'm going to have to tune them up again because it does change slightly. But I'm happy with getting 2 watts out of it, and it seems to be on frequency. So I think the end of the 5th installment is that I'll put the cover on and I'll be ready for the groups.io attempted contact Sierra to Sierra on Sunday. And 1100 Zulu, I think, is something like 4 a.m. Pacific. So I'm going to set the alarm and get up and see if I can talk to other people with Sierras. So if you followed all 5 of these, thanks a lot. It probably took me longer than it should have. But we're on the air. I'll put the cover on. Away we go. Thanks for watching.